Hi, everyone. Today I want to share something that still feels like a fresh bruise, but also a breakthrough. Picture this. You're sitting in a gray, overly air-conditioned office, sipping lukewarm coffee while trying to make sense of yet another corporate reorg email. Your inbox is overflowing, but there's one message you keep checking. Yours. The one you sent 6 months ago. Still unread. So, before you listen, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Where are you watching from today? Drop your location in the comments. Now, let's ease into the story together. My name is Harper Lane. I'm 46, and until a few weeks ago, I was a senior account strategist at a mid-sized branding agency in Denver. Not a flashy tech startup or a global conglomerate, just a decently respected firm that I had poured nearly a decade of my life into. I wasn't in love with the title, but I loved the work. I loved translating chaos into campaigns, managing client expectations with almost telepathic precision, and most of all, solving problems before anyone even realized they existed. The agency's crown jewel client was Aria Systems, a tech conglomerate responsible for over 30% of our annual revenue. And when I say I managed them, I don't mean weekly check-ins and reports. I mean I carried them. Their unpredictable sprints, their last-minute product pivots, their aggressive expansion goals. I was the person who kept them tethered to results and reality. For 9 years, I helped turn their spaghetti of ideas into tangible strategies. I translated exec speak into action items, saved failing launches, and smoothed over high-stakes contract negotiations. I trained juniors, mentored interns, and kept our retention rate at numbers most departments only dreamed of. So when I submitted a comprehensive data-backed salary proposal, I wasn't asking for a miracle. I was asking for fairness. The email was polite, professional, maybe even a little too modest. I included market data, performance charts, and outlined my direct contributions to client growth. I didn't ask for applause, just acknowledgement. That was 6 months ago. The subject line still haunts me. Compensation adjustment proposal, Q1 results. Short. Clear. Entirely ignored. At first, I made excuses. Our new CEO, Brent Wallace, was just getting his bearings. He was young, polished, and disturbingly obsessed with efficiency. His first town hall still rings in my ears. Loyalty isn't a business model. Optimization is. I remember blinking at the screen and feeling something cold settle in my stomach. Still, I pressed on. In Q1 alone, I exceeded retention goals by 180%. I closed $1 million renewal without legal support. I even trained 2 associates who both got promoted, one of them within my own department. So I waited. A week. 2 weeks. Nothing. Not a read receipt. Not a got it, let's talk soon. Then came the offhand comment. Brent's assistant, a bright-eyed 20-something named Mira, dropped it casually during a meeting. Oh yeah, Brent said emails like that aren't urgent right now. She laughed like it was a punchline, like my livelihood was just another tab he forgot to open. I smiled, nodded, and chewed the inside of my cheek until it hurt. But it wasn't just about the money. It was the erasure. The way I was being quietly folded out of the narrative. I sent follow-ups, offered to chat over coffee, hinted at open slots on his calendar. Crickets. And then, like a slow creeping fog, the signs began to multiply. First, it was meeting invites I was no longer included in. Then, key documents started bypassing me. And one morning, I walked into our weekly strategy session to find Mira sitting in my usual seat at the head of the table. Brent didn't even look at me when he said, "Mira's leading this one. Fresh energy." Fresh energy. I wanted to laugh out loud. Not because it was funny, but because it was so obvious. They weren't just ignoring me. They were replacing me. Slowly, silently, and with just enough plausible deniability to keep it all polite. I sat 2 chairs down and watched Mira stumble through a script I had helped her write 6 months ago, when she was still onboarding. I watched Brent nod like she'd just reinvented branding strategy. And I watched my team, not with empathy, but with that same glazed-over discomfort you give someone whose expiration date has already been stamped. That meeting wasn't a gut punch. It was confirmation. I was no longer in the story. But I wasn't going to leave in a flurry of tears and angry emails. That's not my style. I sat at my desk until the building emptied, staring at the glowing subject line of that unread proposal, like it was a ghost only I could see. I reread the message. I reviewed the KPIs I had so carefully laid out. I wanted to remind myself I wasn't imagining this. I had done the work. I had built something real. But real doesn't always survive in places where politics matter more than performance. It's strange what heartbreak looks like at work. It isn't loud or cinematic. It's subtle. It's your keycard still working, but your influence disappearing. It's having to ask for access to a file you created. It's smiling through a meeting where your name is never mentioned. It's being CC'd instead of TO'd. One of my longest-standing accounts, Palisade Global, was reassigned to Mira via a silent calendar update. No heads up. Just ping, a new invite with her name at the top. I confronted Brent, calmly, diplomatically. I wasn't looped in on the Palisade handoff. Was there a reason? He didn't even glance up. We're building Mira's portfolio. She needs real-world experience. I'm sure you understand. I did understand. I just hoped the client would too. That night, I sat in my car and cried. Not out of weakness, but because the weight of being invisible is heavy. And I needed to drop it somewhere that wasn't the middle of a conference room. Still, I showed up the next day. Not because I had anything to prove, but because I knew Brent hadn't won yet. If he wanted me out, he was going to have to say it out loud. And if he didn't, I was going to show him what it looked like when someone refused to be erased. Because this wasn't just about salary anymore. It was about something bigger. It was about dignity. And the moment I needed, the one that would change everything, was already on its way. The following Friday morning unfolds with an eerie predictability. Too many smiles that don't quite reach the eyes. Casual mentions of team collaboration that sound more like thinly veiled warnings. I walk into the office and immediately sense it. My seat, the one I've sat in for years, is taken. Mira, polished and confident, is already there, laptop open, coffee cup with her initials engraved on the side. She doesn't look up when I enter. Brent gestures vaguely to a seat further down. Let's shake things up today. Mira's leading. Of course she is. I sit where he points, nodding like it doesn't sting. Like I hadn't been up until midnight, drafting the very framework she's about to present. I watch her stumble on acronyms she still doesn't understand, and breeze past KPIs that took me weeks to fine-tune. She's reading a script I had written, literally. I glance around the room. No one makes eye contact. It's not disgust. It's avoidance. That specific kind of discomfort people wear when they know something unfair is happening, but don't want to be the next target. I've seen it before, in different rooms with different people, but I never thought I'd see it directed at me. And this is how it begins. Not with a formal demotion, not with a pink slip. Just silence, just absence. Bit by bit, I am being edited out of the narrative I helped author. But I don't storm out. I don't slam my laptop shut or call out the awkwardness. That's not how you win a war like this. You win it with patience, with calculation, with memory. That afternoon, as everyone filters out to happy hour, I linger. Not because I have work, because I need stillness. I scroll through Slack messages, email threads, team calendars. I spot the subtle shifts. Meetings once held in my office now hosted by Mira. Campaigns I designed now rebranded under strategic mentorship, without naming who mentored whom. I'm no longer the strategist. I'm the ghost consultant who haunts the outline of what used to be mine. It would be dramatic if it weren't so ordinary. The agency doesn't hate me. It doesn't even dislike me. It simply decided I've passed my usefulness. And instead of saying it, they're replacing me with someone younger, cheaper, and easier to shape. Brent thinks he's being efficient. What he's actually doing is reckless. But here's the irony. He doesn't know what I know. He doesn't know what ARIA Systems expects. He doesn't know how precariously close our retention metrics really are to unraveling. Mira doesn't know that the Q4 roadmap she's now leading has a structural flaw I had already patched weeks ago, quietly, because that's what I do. I prevent disasters before anyone knows they're coming, and now I'm watching the setup of one in real time. Still, I say nothing. I nod in meetings. I congratulate Mira publicly. I send polite follow-ups and offer subtle corrections when she misquotes data in front of clients. She doesn't thank me. Brent doesn't notice, or maybe he does, and it only reinforces his plan to edge me out. The following week, another familiar shock. Palisade Global, a client I built from scratch, vanishes from my dashboard. I didn't even get a notification. Just a blank space where their name used to be, and an invitation to assist on broader team efforts. Brent's response when I ask, a casual, "We need to diversify leadership experiences." Translation, "We're giving your work to someone else and hoping you won't cause a scene." So I don't. I cause a spreadsheet. Every late night, every saved deal, every client testimonial, I start collecting them. Not because I plan to litigate, but because I want my own record, not for HR, for me. Proof that I didn't imagine my contributions. That this erasure isn't just paranoia, it's strategy. One day I'm walking past a meeting room and overhear Mira pitching a revised campaign to ARIA. She's repeating my own phrasing back to the client like she came up with it. Brent is nodding along like a proud professor. The client seems confused. There's an awkward silence when she stumbles over the implementation schedule. I keep walking. I get to my desk and sit quietly. The rage doesn't bubble up anymore. It simmers, controlled, focused. I have something now that they don't, the full picture, and they have no idea what I'm about to do with it. What hurts isn't the job, it's the gaslighting. It's being told you're part of the team while they quietly remove your name from team rosters. It's being thanked for years of leadership while you're excluded from every new leadership initiative. It's being praised in private, but dismissed in public. I can't count the number of times I've opened my unread salary proposal email in the last few months, hovering over it like it might finally send itself. Sometimes I wonder what Brent's inbox even looks like. How many unread emails he has. How many open loops he never bothers to close. But I won't chase him. That part of me, the one who needed permission to feel worthy, it's dying off now. That Friday, I drive home in silence, not even the radio. I park the car, rest my head on the steering wheel, and say the thing I've been afraid to admit for weeks. They don't see you anymore. You've already been replaced. And once I say it, I don't fall apart. I feel lighter, like I finally stepped out of the fog. Because now that I've accepted it, I can stop waiting and start building something that can't be erased. The Monday that follows is gray. Not the kind of cinematic gray with rain on windows and dramatic music swelling in the background. Just dull, featureless. Like the universe is saying, today is a good day for uncomfortable clarity. My inbox pings with a new all-hands invite, Q3 alignment session. All strategic leads required. Interesting. I'm not technically a strategic lead anymore, at least not officially. My title hasn't changed, but the responsibilities have shrunk so sharply you'd think someone was putting my job description through a paper shredder one bullet point at a time. Still, I RSVP yes. I pull my navy blazer from the back of the closet. It's the one that fits just right in the shoulders, the one that says, I'm still here, still professional, still not broken. I pair it with a soft turtleneck and subtle gold earrings. Nothing too bold. Just enough to look quietly powerful. The conference room is buzzing when I walk in. People murmur in that careful, self-aware tone we all adopt in high-stakes meetings. Mira is already seated beside Brent, looking every bit the anointed successor. She's got fresh highlights, a new manicure, and a look that says, I have a Pinterest board titled Corporate Ascension. I take a seat 2 rows back, notebook open, pen poised. It's muscle memory, a ritual, the act of someone still trying. The meeting begins like every other town hall. Brent throws out phrases like agility, vision casting, and value alignment. I listen with half my mind. The other half drifts to the unread email I sent 6 months ago. Still unopened, still haunting. Then his tone shifts. He clicks to a slide titled Strategic Streamlining, and suddenly the room stiffens. No one breathes when he says, "Sometimes staying efficient means making hard decisions." He doesn't name names. He doesn't have to. His eyes flick toward me for one heartbeat too long. Then he says, if anyone feels entitled to compensation simply for longevity, if they haven't adapted to where we're going, they should ask themselves whether this is still the right place for them. I stare down at my notepad, not blinking. I can feel every eye flick toward me, quickly, then away. A few darting glances. Mira doesn't even look embarrassed. She just adjusts her notes with a small, self-satisfied smile. And Brent? He's already moved on, like that nuclear line was just a speed bump on his way to the next buzzword. I don't leave. I don't flinch. I don't let my hand shake. Even though my jaw is so tight, I'm scared I might crack a molar. I stay until the end, take notes I won't reread, and walk out with the same calm I wore walking in. But something in me has snapped clean in two. I'm not going to remind him of my contributions. I'm not going to send another follow-up or try to schedule another coffee chat. He doesn't want me here, but he doesn't have the nerve to say it. He's hoping I'll quit on my own, that I'll make it easy. So I make a different plan. That night, instead of drinking wine or rage-scrolling job boards, I pull out a notebook and begin writing down names. Clients I've worked with, projects I've led, initiatives I revived that were seconds away from failure. I list them all out, not as a resume, but as a record, a personal archive of value, of proof. Around midnight, I dig through my inbox and stumble across an email from months ago. It's from Sabrina Elridge, VP of Strategy at Aria Systems, the client I managed for nearly a decade. Her message ends with a line I had barely registered when it first arrived. If you ever feel like they don't recognize your brilliance over there, give me a call. We'd be lucky to have you. I freeze. Read it again. Again. I don't know what's louder, my heartbeat or the sound of opportunity knocking 6 months late. I don't reply. Not yet. Not because I'm not tempted, but because for the first time in months, I don't feel desperate. I feel powerful. This is no longer about staying or leaving. It's about how I leave, and what I take with me when I go. Over the next 3 days, I dig. Contracts, campaign results, feedback threads. I don't take anything confidential, but I prepare everything I can show. Everything that proves the depth of my relationship with Aria. Every chart that shows how my strategies directly impacted their growth. Every time Brent took credit for something I did in the background. I don't feel bitter. I feel surgical. And that's when I realized something big. Aria didn't stay with us because of the agency. They stayed because of me, because of my quiet, consistent stewardship. And now, Brent has pushed me far enough that I'm ready to take that loyalty with me. On the third night, I finally reply to Sabrina. Hi Sabrina, your message meant more than I can express. I'd be open to a conversation, strictly informal for now. Let me know a good time. She replies in 20 minutes. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., sending the link shortly. I look forward to it. I sit back in my chair and let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding for months. The next morning, I join the call 5 minutes early, wearing a soft gray blouse and a calm, neutral smile. Sabrina appears, radiant and clear-eyed. We exchange a few warm pleasantries. She doesn't rush, she doesn't push. And then she says the words that shift everything. We're restructuring our in-house strategy team. We've noticed a drop in consistency, and honestly, we miss what things were like when you were leading from your side. She leans forward. If you're open to it, we'd like to explore bringing you on board. Leadership role, direct report to C-suite, full creative control. I blink, just once. Not out of disbelief, but out of something else entirely. Relief. I don't say yes right away. I ask questions. I play it calm. But deep down, I know I'm already gone. I just haven't packed up yet. And for the first time in 6 months, I sleep through the night. The next morning feels like a secret I get to carry alone. There's something deliciously quiet about knowing your life is about to change, and no one else in the room has a clue. I walk into the office like always, coffee in one hand, blazer draped over my chair, polite nods exchanged with colleagues. But inside, I'm somewhere else entirely, somewhere freer. Sabrina and I had our talk yesterday, and while nothing's finalized, the intention is clear. She sees me, she values me, and more importantly, she's offering a chance to build something new, from scratch, without having to prove over and over again that I deserve to be in the room. That kind of clarity is priceless. I spend the day doing what I've always done, being the invisible glue no one acknowledges until it's gone. I answer emails before they're even officially asked, catch a misspelling in a pitch deck Mira's about to present, and smooth over an awkward miscommunication between our design team and Aria's junior PM. No thanks, no recognition, just a steady erosion of my name from every place it used to belong. But this time, I don't internalize it, I document it. Every assist, every last-minute fix, every time someone else presents my solution with a confident, as I suggested, I write it all down, not to weaponize it, just to know that I didn't hallucinate my own competence. Because when people start treating you like furniture, you start to wonder if maybe you're just a chair in the corner after all. That evening, I sit at my desk long after everyone else has left. The office is quiet. Only the hum of the air conditioning and the occasional ding from Slack remain. I open a folder on my desktop I've renamed Perspective. Inside, screenshots of campaign data, client kudos, graphs that show undeniable growth. And something else. A note I wrote to myself 2 years ago, during a particularly hard season when I was pulling 70-hour weeks and barely sleeping. It says, "You're not invisible, you're essential, and they will realize it too late." I didn't remember writing it, but now it feels prophetic. I close my laptop, slip my blazer over my shoulder, and walk to the elevator. And just as the doors are about to close, I hear footsteps. It's Mira. She holds the door. "Hey," she says, breathless, like she ran to catch up. "Quick question. Did you already review the Aria proposal draft?" I nod. "It's in your inbox. I left comments." She looks surprised. "Oh, I didn't realize you were still on the account." I smile gently. Technically, I'm not, but I still care about the outcome. There's a flicker in her eyes, something like guilt or maybe confusion. Maybe for the first time, she senses the ground she's standing on isn't as solid as she thought. That the person she's replacing isn't gone. Not yet. The next day, Sabrina calls again. This time, it's not just a feeler. She's ready to talk terms. "We want you to lead our new strategic innovation division," she says. "You'd build the team from the ground up, full autonomy, remote flexibility, executive reporting line, and naturally, compensation that reflects the value you bring." My heart races. Not because I didn't expect this, but because even when you see the wave coming, it still knocks the air out of you when it hits. I keep my voice calm, professional. "That sounds promising. Can you send over a draft of the offer?" "Already in your inbox," she replies, almost smiling. "I had a feeling you'd say yes." After we hang up, I sit there for a long time, just staring at my inbox. I don't open the offer right away. I just let it sit there, like a sealed letter from the universe, confirming that I'm not crazy, that I'm valuable, that everything they've tried to convince me I wasn't, I still am. I do eventually open it, and it's generous, more than I expected. Benefits that make sense, a budget for hiring, a seat at the table, not as a guest, but as an architect. But I don't sign immediately. Because now the question isn't if I'll leave, it's how. I could just resign, sure. Quietly slip out the back door. Let Brent spin his own story about my departure. Maybe even send one of those bland farewell emails filled with "thank you for the memories" and a few emojis. But that wouldn't be me. I've never been loud. I've never been dramatic. But I believe in timing. And my exit isn't just a goodbye. It's a statement. One that needs to be heard, not just by Brent, but by everyone who ever watched me be sidelined and said nothing. So I start planning. Not revenge, just resonance. I make a list of everything I've done for Aria in the past 18 months. Every major win, every crisis averted, every late-night pivot. I build a timeline that shows exactly how my strategies shaped their growth trajectory. Then I draft an email to Brent, just a little note. Would love to schedule time to talk about Arya's future with the agency. There are some new developments worth aligning on. I hit send. He replies within 20 minutes. A miracle. Sure, let's do tomorrow afternoon. I'll book a room. Perfect. Because what he doesn't know is that by the time we meet, Arya will have already terminated their contract. I won't have to raise my voice. I won't have to accuse anyone of anything. I'll just sit in that room and let the silence speak for itself. Let him ask the question I've waited months to answer. What happened? And only then will I tell him. Because when someone tries to write you out of your own story, the best thing you can do is show them they were never holding the pen in the first place. It's amazing how quickly a company can start to unravel. The morning of the meeting with Brent, I'm strangely calm. I wake up early, go for a walk. Let the cool Denver air clear my head. There's a stillness in me now, not numbness, but precision. Like my body understands this is a turning point and is giving me exactly the composure I need. At 9:17 a.m., the email arrives. From Area Systems, sent to Brent, CC'd to me in procurement. Subject, termination of contract, effective immediately. There's no emotion in it, no elaborate reasoning, just a flat corporate farewell, a checklist of exit items, and an official note that Arya is restructuring agency partnerships in Q4. I almost feel bad. Almost. At 10:00 a.m., the panic starts to ripple through the office. People pace in tight circles, whispering over coffee. Mira's expression is frantic. Gone is the polished veneer, replaced with a nervous edge I haven't seen before. Brent's door stays shut, but from the hallway I can hear his voice rising and falling behind it. Meetings are canceled, calendars updated. Emergency syncs labeled urgent are popping up like a virus. And me? I'm sitting quietly at my desk, typing out a summary report no one asked for but will need very soon. At 3 p.m. sharp, I walk into the glass-walled conference room. Brent is already there, sleeves rolled up, expression forced into something between confidence and desperation. He gestures to the chair across from him. Appreciate you making time, he starts, voice strained. So, you saw the Arya email? I nod. Just before lunch? He leans forward, palms on the table. Any idea why they'd pull out like this? Was there something in the last campaign that didn't sit right? Did Mira drop the ball somewhere? There it is. The scramble, the projection, the reaching for anyone else to blame. I meet his eyes steady. I assume it wasn't the weather. He gives a thin, humorless laugh. Come on, Harper, you worked with them closely. You'd know better than anyone what triggered this. I take a slow breath. Not for drama, just to give him space to hear what's coming. 6 months ago, I begin. I sent you a proposal. Outlined performance metrics, retention rates, account value breakdowns. I included a detailed roadmap for Arya's growth and how to sustain the partnership long term. He flinches just slightly. I remember you sent something. You never opened it. A long pause, a blink, then he looks away. I continue. Then you reassign my accounts. Promoted someone with no field experience to lead one of our most volatile clients. Diminished my visibility, undermined my role. Brent sighs. I miscalculated, okay? I was pushing for fresh leadership, new energy. Maybe I didn't handle it perfectly, but you've got to understand. I wasn't trying to push you out. But you did. He rubs the back of his neck. So what now, you're leaving? I nod once, measured. I've accepted a role with Arya. I'll be leading their new strategic innovation division, effective immediately. His mouth opens, then closes. His face loses its usual cool. He leans back like the air's just been knocked out of him. You're serious? Dead serious. The silence that follows is delicious, not petty, just clarifying. Finally, he speaks. You're making a mistake. I smile, small and even. No, you did. And then I stand, tuck my notebook under my arm, and walk out. Not fast, not triumphant, just with the quiet resolve of someone who's done being silenced. I don't clear my desk. There's nothing left on it that matters. The framed thank you card from Arya's old VP is already packed. The rest, the trinkets, the outdated org charts, the faded sticky notes, I leave behind. Let Mira inherit the clutter. I hit the elevator button. Behind me, the office churns in confusion. And then, Harper! I turn. It's Mira. She walks up slowly, uncertainty in her voice for the first time. Are you leaving? I nod. I am. Her eyes widen. So it's true, you're joining Arya? I say nothing. She already knows the answer, but I offer a soft, almost kind smile. Because I don't hate her. She was a pawn. Ambitious, yes, but still playing someone else's game. She looks at the floor. I didn't mean for things to happen this way. Neither did I say, and it's the truth. Then the elevator dings, the doors open, and I step inside. As they close behind me, it doesn't feel like an ending. It feels like a transfer of power. When I get home, I don't cry. I don't toast champagne. I just sit by the window, watching dusk settle over the skyline. Then I open my laptop and log into my new company portal, harparlanawariainovat.com. There it is, my new identity, one that no one had to be convinced to believe in. Within days, the reverberations start. Clients begin asking questions. A few even reach out to me directly. We heard you left. Any chance you're consulting now? My old agency tries to patch the bleeding with frantic marketing blasts and repackaged pitch decks, but it's too late. The foundation's already cracking, and I'm not looking back. The Monday after Arya's sudden departure is silent. Not the productive kind of silence where everyone's deep in focused work, but the uneasy stillness that follows an explosion. There's no banter by the coffee machine, no laughter echoing down the hallway. It's like the soul of the place got up and left over the weekend, and everyone's just now realizing it. I walk into the building, not because I have to, but because I want to see it with my own eyes. The fallout, the questions, the uncomfortable realization on faces that were once indifferent to mine. Mira's seat is empty. Brent's office door is shut tight. The digital office status board reads, "In meetings," under his name, but I know better. That's corporate for hiding. I pass a group of project managers whispering urgently near the copy machine. I hear snippets. Client timelines toast. They pulled funding. Didn't even see it coming. I sit at my old desk, temporarily, and boot up my computer. I'm technically still within my notice window, but no one's asked for a transition plan. No one's even acknowledged my resignation in an official capacity. It's like they're pretending I never left, hoping they can plug the hole with duct tape before the ship sinks completely. But the hole isn't just Arya. A few hours later, Palisade Global sends notice they're reevaluating their partnership. Then Greylight Labs emails requesting an urgent Q4 revision meeting due to internal confusion regarding strategic continuity. Brent holds an emergency staff sync at 2 p.m. He enters the room disheveled, tie loose, hair less polished, expression strained. No more TED Talk energy, no more slick metaphors about optimization or agility. Just a man who miscalculated and is now trying not to show it. He begins with corporate phrases like unexpected transitions and opportunity for reevaluation. Everyone nods like they're paying attention, but their eyes dart to the Slack pings and the storm of client emails coming in by the minute. I say nothing. I take notes on a pad I won't keep. Later that afternoon, my phone rings. It's not Sabrina this time. It's Nathaniel Croft, Arya's COO. "Harper," he says without preamble. "We finalized the restructure and reviewed our leadership projections. The new division is yours to run. Build your team however you like. You report directly to me and the board." There's a pause. We'll follow up with the formal announcement next week, but internally it's already circulating. I feel my heart beat once, hard and full. Not from nerves, from validation. Not the superficial kind that comes with applause, but the deep spinal kind that comes from finally being seen without having to beg for it. Nathaniel continues, "We've also arranged for your initial hires to have priority interviews. Anyone you recommend gets top consideration. We trust your judgment. The irony nearly makes me laugh. 6 months ago, I couldn't even get a read receipt. Now, I'm being handed the keys to a division I essentially built in silence. When the call ends, I just sit for a moment. The room is spinning, but not from confusion, from momentum. I open my email and compose a single message. To Brent Wallace. Subject: Transition notice, immediate. Brent. As discussed previously, my last day with the agency is today. I'll be transitioning fully into my new role as head of strategy at ARIA Systems effective tomorrow. I'll coordinate with procurement on any necessary handover items. Best. Harper. Short, final, unapologetic. By now, the agency is a machine grinding its own gears. They've already lost 3 key clients and haven't yet accepted the reason why. But they will. I gather the last few personal items from my desk. A plant that's seen better days. A USB drive with nothing on it but coffee shop playlists. And a single photo of my team from 4 years ago, back when it still felt like a team. I don't say goodbye to anyone, not because I'm angry, because I've already said everything I needed to by staying quiet while they erased me. The security guard at the front nods as I exit. Half day, he jokes. Something like that, I reply. And just like that, I walk out. No confetti, no party, no LinkedIn post drenched in saccharine farewells. Just a woman stepping back into her power. Later that week, I check in with my new inbox. harper@lanewarianavate.com. The welcome email is warm. My new team introductions are scheduled. Sabrina's already looped me into executive planning meetings. The tone is clear. You belong here. And then something unexpected happens. I get a message from Eli Ferris, CMO at Greylight Labs, one of my former agency clients. We'd worked together during a product launch disaster a few years back. I helped steer their messaging away from what could have been a viral fiasco. Hey Harper, his message reads. Heard you've moved on. Congrats. Honestly, we were hoping you'd reach out. Our teams felt the shift. Interested in talking future partnerships? And just like that, the echoes begin. Not from the agency, from the clients who remembered me, not the firm's name on the invoice. Over the next week, 2 more clients reach out. They'd noticed the difference, the lack of clarity, the drop in strategic cohesion. I don't gloat, I don't send Brent screenshots, I don't even think about him. Because I'm already gone. And the difference between being pushed out and walking out on your own terms is this. One makes you bitter. The other makes you better. It's been 3 weeks since I left the agency, and already the echoes are getting louder. Not dramatic, not headline-worthy, just steady. A quiet domino effect of what happens when a company systematically removes the person holding its most fragile, most valuable relationships together, and assumes the system will self-correct. Spoiler, it doesn't. I've now had conversations with 5 former clients. 3 have officially shifted their business to ARIA's new strategic division, my division. 2 more are in exploratory talks. None of this was me poaching or soliciting. I didn't send flashy announcements or whisper behind closed doors. They reached out to me. Because they knew. They knew who answered their calls at 9 p.m. They remembered who saved their timelines, who caught the brand inconsistency before a campaign went live, who restructured a product launch deck an hour before the board meeting. They didn't care what agency logo was on the invoice. They cared about results, about trust. And trust doesn't just transfer when your inbox changes domains. It stays where it was earned. Meanwhile, whispers from my old agency keep floating in. I don't look for them. They find me. A former coworker text, "Are you seeing the churn numbers? Q4 looks bleak." Another DMs, "Mira's been moved to internal strategy. No more client-facing." And the one that makes me blink. Brent's gone dark, no new posts. Last seen updating his LinkedIn headline. Just says, "Open to opportunities." I don't react, not with glee, not with bitterness, just stillness. Because honestly, I'm too busy building. ARIA's Strategic Innovation Division is already shaping up to be something special. I've brought in 2 former junior strategists I once mentored, both of whom had been quietly shoved into corners at the agency. Here, they're leading initiatives, taking calls, making decisions, blooming like plants finally getting sunlight. Every day, I step into calls where my opinion isn't just heard, it's requested. Every decision I make here is tied directly to outcome and growth, not ego or politics. Every meeting is an opportunity to lead, not defend my seat at the table. That's what real leadership looks like. It's not just salary or title or corner offices. It's the space to do your best work and be treated like a human while doing it. One morning, I get an internal memo from Aria's CEO. It's a recognition shout-out to the newly formed Innovation Division, led by Harper Lane, for accelerating the Q4 vision with clarity and precision. Nothing fancy, no parade, but it lands. Because for years, I had to beg to be seen. Now, I'm simply acknowledged. Later that day, I'm wrapping up when I get a call. Unknown number. I hesitate, then answer. It's Brent. His voice is flatter than I remember, almost tired. Harper, he says. I wasn't sure you'd pick up. I almost didn't, I say plainly. A pause. Then, look. I know things ended messily. I've had time to reflect. I wait. Let him hang in that silence. It's not vindictive, it's intentional. Let him feel, for once, what it's like not to be in control of the narrative. I underestimated you, he continues, and I think I misunderstood what you brought to the table. That's clear, I say. Another pause. Would you ever consider advising, not formally, just helping us restabilize? I almost laugh, not out of cruelty, out of disbelief. This is the same man who wouldn't open my email, who erased me without a second thought, who gave my work away and told me loyalty was outdated. And now he wants my help. I keep my tone even. Brent, I sent you everything you needed to stabilize 6 months ago. He's quiet. I'm building now, I continue, not patching holes. I wish you well, but I'm not coming back. He exhales. I get it. And for the first time, I believe he does. We hang up. I don't feel triumphant. I feel finished. There's a kind of peace that comes when you realize your worth isn't tied to someone else's ability to see it. When you stop fighting to stay in rooms you've outgrown. When your silence becomes your strength. And your exit becomes your statement. A few days later, I'm asked to speak at a virtual leadership summit for women in strategy. Topic: Invisible labor and visible impact. I say yes. Because this story isn't just mine. It belongs to anyone who's ever been passed over, dismissed, strategically sidelined. Anyone who's been told to be patient, be grateful, be quiet, while someone else reaps the rewards of their labor. And if that's you, listen to me closely. You are not invisible, you are not crazy, and you are absolutely not powerless. You might be quiet now, you might be in the background. But one day, you'll walk out, not with bitterness, but with your full value intact. And when you do, you won't just change your life. You'll shake the room you left behind. So I'll end with this. Don't wait for them to see you. See yourself. Then move.